This is the first stream of the new year, 2018. Woo! You guys have a good New Year's?
All right.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do on this one is level. We're going to level our characters. You guys are getting 2 stages, like 2 advances. So that should put him at veteran and you at seasoned. I think you'll be into level 25. So, what were you looking at getting? You want that edge so that you can read fire? And this is a new, since you're going into a new category, you're hitting the S, right? 20S, is that what's the next blank line on their leveling for you?
It would be 25. 20S was improved fiery aura at 3d8 plus burst.
Okay. So you still haven't taken more ISP for this rank. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well.
Let's do that.
Which is, I believe, 10 for you since you're a major psionic, a master psionic.
Ooh. Burn it everything.
And so what else? You can get drive if you want to finally learn how to drive and help out in that. No. Have your own vehicle, not just be a burden to the rest of the team.
They seem fine.
Or you can take like that edge, which will give you the full investigation powers over fire and burning.
What's the name of that edge?
ISP. I just want to look that up. So yes, you do gain 10 ISP. It is called Read the Flame.
All right. Yeah, I'll take it.
So, Read the Flame. Kind of already know this, but just for the audience at home. Let's find it. Bursters with this edge can make a notice check to read and understand a fire or the sight of one. With a success, she can tell how it started and how long it burned. The raise, you can sense what kind of being, if any, started the fire, as well as any other interesting details the GM wants to share, such as the fire's purpose, if any. So, good investigation ability. How about you?
If I'm not mistaken, because I hit a new status level, I could typically increase a attribute, right?
Yes, you can increase an attribute since you can increase one attribute and gain ISP once per those levels.
Otherwise, though, if I wanted to learn a new skill, that would be one thing.
One thing, a brand new skill at D4.
Right.
If you wanted to, you can get the brand new skill at D4 and then use your next raise to raise it twice if it's still underneath your ability die. If you want to just pump up a new skill.
I'm thinking about learning a new skill and then raising an attribute.
Which skill?
I think it may be time that I learn intimidation.
That seems to come up a lot.
Since I have an edge that gives me a plus to it, it seems like I might as well have it.
Yeah.
Might as well, I guess.
Marcus Welby. So where we last left off is you had just gotten back from your foray for the black market, where you tracked down the team that was missing, you found the missing cargo, then you tracked down the people that stole the missing cargo, which ended up being a group of heroes, do-gooders, glitter boy, glitter girl, techno wizard, and a power armor jock. After you kind of felt them out, gigging, you decided not to try to take the cargo back from them, but in exchange they gave you a bundle of books. So instead of just one book, he just grabbed one of the cellophane bundles, and it had 3 books in it, and he gave that to you. Then after you guys left, you heard a ruckus, and you went back to investigate when a coalition strike team had assaulted the group, and you went in to try to mop up and help them out, and it ended up being this crazy chase after the Yellow Brick Road with Toto, who ended up not being Toto, and a wild ride back where you lost one of your ATVs, one of your quads. Upon return to Wreckville, you were, again, you got all your stuff sold that you left them with, but you were propositioned by the black market again to scout out a new area for their smugglers to run through, since that one was obviously compromised. And in return, they're going to try to look to getting you smuggled across Chi-Town. Sound good?
That's right.
So before we get into the mission, there's a couple things we have to figure out, like your vehicle situation. Mm-hmm. You only have the one big quad with no trailer now. So all 3 of you can fit on it, but you might want to buy something else.
We also need to know what those books are.
Yes. The books. You have 3 books. The one that struck out to you most prominently is Displays of Favorite Pyromancy by Coleman.
Coleman?
Coleman. Coalmane. All one word. Coleman. Mm-hmm. The second is Incidents of Frozen Spellcasting by Mentor Scaphidus.
Castus?
Scaphidus. Scafidis. Mentor Scaphidus.
Mentor?
Mentor.
Not mentor.
Mentor.
Yeah. And
the last is the largest book called Pocket Dangers of Arcane Phenomena by Hulong.
Pocket Dangers of
Arcane Phenomena.
Displays of what?
Favorite Pyromancy.
Sorry, when I write for myself, I write almost in shorthand. Displays of Favorite Pyromancy by Coleman, Incidents of Frozen Spellcasting by Mentor Scathidus, and Pocket Dangers of Arcane Phenomenon by an Asian guy.
Hulong.
By an Asian guy.
Hulong.
I don't really care about those books. I can't read anyway.
Can you really not read?
You really can't read.
Oh, weird. That's come up a couple times, hasn't it?
I can't read or rite.
Rite is like...
It's true.
Way too like specific. You would have had to know how right is spelled to mispronounce it. Rite. We're reading.
All right, so...
Might as well change my name to Jose.
Jose. What are you guys going to do about the vehicle situation?
That's up to you guys. I have no say in vehicle situations. I have to ride no matter what. So, You guys should discuss amongst yourselves what to do about this.
Like, you guys got a pretty good bankroll going, but you're also about to be smuggled over a border, so you don't know how that's going to go, and if you're going to be able to take vehicles. But vehicles aren't cheap. Like, there's not Ford pumping out cheap, shitty cars anymore. Almost all vehicles are either salvage or actually, constructed by hand in someone's garage. So,
I mean, but if I'm not mistaken, the bigger quad, we all just rode together.
Correct.
We can ride it together.
You can all three ride that one.
Without a penalty.
Without a penalty. So if you just want to do this mission with the one vehicle, or try this mission with one vehicle, that's completely doable.
You may want to split up the party.
Yeah, you can't split up the party unless some people are on foot.
I mean,
you can buy a trailer for it. Again, something to put on the back to carry, or for passengers. That would be a lot cheaper than buying another vehicle.
well, because what I'm thinking is that, like, the fact that we are trying to get smuggled or whatever, it's like maybe we'll need money to buy a vehicle afterward.
When you get to your destination.
So it may be pointless to buy a vehicle now.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I said, I have no say in this. I can't drive it anyway, so you guys
Like,
decide.
we can already all ride on this one vehicle.
That is true.
And
Really,
like,
it's a comfort level thing for you guys.
if we have to progress to a certain point, get off and be like, all right, we're walking or running from here, so be it.
So one vehicle?
That's my opinion. What's Shani's?
She's good with it. She can fly. So
Okay. Then I don't think we need another vehicle necessarily. I mean, we used another vehicle just because we had it. But, like, we still stayed together. It's not like we sent vehicles off in different directions.
We did it a couple times when we were scouting.
mostly, like, the reason why you only have one vehicle is, like, you were in the small one up scouting for that Psy Stalker, and then they were in behind just following you. I mean, you don't know what this mission holds, and you don't know, again, like, how you're going to leave this place, if you're going to get to keep your vehicles or any of that stuff. So, Shani's completely fine with keeping the one vehicle. It doesn't make sense to buy something big or new or large in this situation. But, I mean, you could look at some cheap little quad just to have a second vehicle. But that still is going to run at least 10,000. Like, at least 10,000 to 15,000 credits, even for a cheap one.
So half of everything we have. Let's just buy a trailer or skip it completely.
And you can buy a cheap trailer for $2,000 to $5,000.
I'd be on board skipping it for our current mission.
All right. Yeah.
Because we're just trying to find a new route.
Yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like, we're not tasked with bringing something back or anything like that. We just...
Our only problem with that is if we find anything, we can't bring it back.
if you find loots, you can't, really get it anywhere. But, I mean, you can always do the old pirate trick, which is just stash it somewhere and come back and buy a vehicle and then go get it. The other thing that's going to suck is if this vehicle gets destroyed or disabled in any way, it's a long walk back. But that's what you were doing first. I mean, before you even had vehicles, you were just walking across country. So that's what happens. All right, so no vehicle. Let's go. So, your mission is to go out to this valley and see if it's clear. If people can move through it, obviously you want to look for any signs of inhabitation. If you want to look for any major threats in the area, natural or unnatural. You also want to find, or they want to find, a shelter. This is going to be a stopping point for a smuggling team. So you want to look for some place for people to hold up for a night that's inconspicuous-ish.
I think we should get someplace high if that's available and monitor traffic for a couple of days to see if people are even using this area, like if it's a viable space. If it has no traffic, then obviously we can set up, and then we can decide where to put the shelter after that.
There is a town nearby, an old pre-Riffs town at the entrance to this valley. So obviously the most prominent point for a place to stay would be in this town, but also lots of old threats and new ones hole up in those places because of the same reason. So they want you to scout that out and to see what's going on with it. So check the valley, check the threats, check the town, secure a location, and see if it's safe enough for a smuggling run. And it has to just be safe enough. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like they're not sending out people that have no weapons and no protection.
I think we should check for traffic first.
Yeah.
Because if people are moving around here the area enough, then it's not going to work, period. After that, we won't have to check the valley. We won't have to check the city. If it's constant traffic, then it's not going to work to begin with.
Right.
Just come right back and be like, this is too heavy.
Too heavy. So, you strike out to the valley. It is only like it's a day out. That's why they picked it, because it's a day out from Rickville, so they can get a full day's travel going there, and that's where the stopping point, the natural stopping point, would be for most vehicles. I mean, they're not throwing these things on sky cycles or anything like that and blazing at 500 miles an hour. So you drive out there, and as the valley starts to form up around you, you can see that the most of what the town was in the foothills of one side of the valley, the left side. As you're coming in from that side, that's the south side, and you're kind of coming in from the southern edge. You can start riding up to what used to be the roads that went up to that town, so you can get a look at the valley. If you want to do a good overlook, like you were saying, just to take a look at everything that's out there. And looking at the state of the road, you also might glean some information about traffic. Like, are people using this road type thing? You'd see where and all that stuff.
It's all you, buddy.
Who has investigation?
I do.
Okay. You also have tracking, and everyone has notice. So, if you have investigation, roll investigation. If you have tracking, you can roll that instead, but at a -2. And then if you have notice, you can roll that at a -4. So, weigh your options and choose appropriately. This is for everyone. So, you're all trying to figure out, look at signs, look at things. But, 8.
What'd you get?
I had a 3 at a -2, so I got a 1. But it wasn't a natural critical failure, so.
Yeah.
I gleaned nothing. I look around. It looks very old here.
I got a 5 on my investigation.
All right. So everything is covered in snow. None of it's really been disturbed except for some animal prints here and there. Even like as you drive through or you move away from the snow to look at the state of the road, it doesn't look like it's been used very often. I mean, it's obviously just old and ruined because of time, but it doesn't look like it's been packed down recently or anything like that. There's grass growing between the chunks of the old asphalt and all that. Looking out over the valley, it is a forest. Again, this is starting to get into winter, so covered in snow. Quiet. Maybe a little bit too quiet. Like, you're not hearing a whole lot of wildlife, but you are hearing some. There's not like, just an absence of wildlife. So, you are on a road overlooking the valley. You can see the town up ahead of you, or where it starts. What do you do?
Well, I think just because the snow is not disturbing me, people aren't hunkered down in the buildings. I'd rather start looking through the town.
You want to go in, or you want to use your clairvoyance?
I got extra ISP. Let's do the clairvoyance.
One thing about your clairvoyance is that it does create a visible flame, like, and you're looking out from the flame type thing. So it will, like, you want to maneuver it and be aware that things can notice you noticing them type thing, or might see the weird disturbance. I mean, it won't really matter that much for animals, but just so you're aware this isn't a completely quiet spell effect. All right. Make me a notice check.
Oh.
Hey.
8. You see that as you go through the town, you're getting here right towards dusk. You know, it's still some sunlight out, but the valley's starting to close up and get dark. As you're starting to go through the town, most of it is just ruins. Everything's been kind of picked clean. There's nothing to scavenge or salvage here. There's no obvious structures that have been reinforced recently. It looks like people have tried to live here in the past after the fallout, but that's also long gone. But you start to see these weird wolf cat things. They're large, have kind of a Solpine head, wolf-like head, and their bodies move like cats, and they have chitinous protrusions on the skulls and ridge lines of their bones. Looks like they're changing colors for the season. They're turning white. Like there was some type of brown or even a green before. But there seems to be a large pride, if not several prides, scattered throughout the ruins of the town with cubs and, you know, matriarchs and all kinds. And they just kind of walk around, and their cubs are out playing just kind of in the open areas.
They don't seem irritated by my flame floating around.
When it comes up or comes around or they notice it, the cubs kind of like go towards it like stupidly, and the adult ones growl and, you know, try to keep their young ones away.
Gotcha.
They don't seem to be showing any signs of super intelligence or even human intellect.
Gotcha.
So, but there seems to be a lot of them. Like it's a big colony in there. That's their home.
So that means if we're going to use the space, we have to clear those out, or at least report that it's uninhabited by human-style things.
You know, it might not be a bad thing just to leave that stuff in there. So if someone were investigating this valley, they'd see that it wasn't uninhabited.
So we have to decide what we're doing.
I was going to say, no, you don't have to decide. So we looked at the valley, we looked at the little town.
And you can spend a couple days up just on this bend of road, camped out, if you want to look at traffic and you want to see what it's like in the daytime.
That's what I was going to say. I want to move away, because now that we've seen the town, like I got a pretty good... I didn't just like roll a notice and was like, I see some stuff. Like, I floated around.
Yeah.
I cleared the place out more or less. So we have our report for that. Like, this seems nominal. If they want to come and clear it out, they can. If they don't, they can leave it. But yeah, I would like to hang out for at least 2 or 3 days and look around to see if people come here on a regular basis or not. Like, even if they're just hunting things, or if things move away and something else comes back, we don't know anything by just staying on the edge of it for a couple of hours while I look around.
So, where do you want to do this? Do you want to stay on the road to the town, like kind of up in the foothills, or do you want to move to like the mouth of the valley?
I'd like to move someplace where we're not obvious. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I don't want to stay on the road just because that would be an obvious place to get spotted or...
Yeah, if something's going to pass by, it's probably going to pass by on a road. And you don't know how these,
These animals,
wolf cats are getting in and out and what they're hunting. They may just go right down the side of the mountain, or they may come back down the road type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to run into a hunting party of them.
Mm-hmm.
So head down into the forest.
Yes.
Okay. You're just going to stay towards the mouth of the valley, though. You're not like going deep into the valley.
No.
And the whole valley is like you can traverse probably the whole thing in a quarter of a day. If you wanted to give it like a good walkthrough and look over, half a day to the end, half a day back for later when you want to really scout this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
But since you're just testing to see what's coming in and what kind of the traffic is and what it looks like during the day, you can just head down to the mouth, set up camp, build your little fire. I said little fire.
Hanging out in the forest, worst comes to worst, he'll just set everything on fire.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Do you say set everything on fire? No. Oh, too late. That's everything on fire.
Is that his answer for everything? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you spend the rest of the night there. You set up watch rotation. You make a little fire pit, rocks, debris, which for you it's easy. You don't have to worry about things being waterlogged or covered in snow. You just...
Or even fireproof.
Right. And mainly you want to keep rocks hot. Shani talks about that. It's like don't just have a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Heat rocks. It'll retain the heat and not give off light, so not attracting attention. Survival trick that she knows. So, you have your little campsite, your little quad. You watch it through the night. You hear some owls and other critters. And...
Can I use this time to read
Yes. What do you want to read?
displays of favorite pyromancy?
All right. Displays of favorite pyromancy is just a meandering, insane journey. Like, it is a travel blog, almost. It's kind of written haphazardly. So it seems that Coleman is some type of interdimensional traveler, and he goes around and talks, and he's visiting places of fire. Like he's visiting the ever-burning pits of Ardum and talking about his time there and what the place is like and what the rocks do and how this pyromancy event occurred and why it's still going. The ever blazing torch of Avalon and this and that. And in between all of this, he just writes the most random crap. Like he buys like postcards and then writes what the images look like on the postcards, or he tries local foods in these weird dimensions. Mm-hmm. He even like puts his own recipes. Like, I have to try this food that I had here, and here's the recipe that I think I'm going to do. And it always involves fire and like some crazy other stuff. Like, oh, I'm going to put the gallbladder of a salamander into this stew as well to give it a couple notches up on the heat factor. So Coleman is a traveling psychopathic pyrokinetic of some type. And there are some interesting tidbits, though. There are some abilities, some spells, some techniques even that he writes about as he goes on these, like, oh, I saw this today, and this reminded me of this one fire elemental mage that perfected this type of spell, which allowed him to do fire wards and things like that. Or I remember when this guy made fire rune traps and left them for unwary adventurers in his dungeon. So there are things to further yourself if you just start digging in to this insane stream of consciousness style writing that this guy.
So if I want to glean any understanding from this, I have to sit down and focus on this.
Yes, you're going to have to do some research rolls, and it will allow you to get new powers. Powers are even outside of your scope. Even try to start taking edges that maybe aren't normally available to pyromancers.
Is this something I can do right now, or do I need to?
Sure, if you want to start doing it now, you need to make a.
Do you have any plans for the evening?
I mean, you're doing this on your watch, so you're just sitting there listening. You just start digging into the book.
All right, let's do it real quick.
So make a smarts check.
2d10, right?
Yeah. D10, D6.
10.
Nice.
18.
All right. You like this guy. You're starting to get into his thing. Think of, Mark Wiens, but for fire. Is this guy just wandering around talking about fire all over the dimensions, what it does, what it is. This, I met this person. He's, in the kind of, the celebrity level of pyromancers, fire elementalists, fire elementals. And so you start to glean some stuff, you can start looking at things that are outside the normal burster technique and try to manipulate and try to work towards that. So next time you have advances, we'll look at some other options for you.
All right.
But you spend the night reading that. Nothing eventful happens on anyone's watch, except for right around when the moon is the highest in the sky. All of the wolf cats go into a howl, it seems, and then it quiets off, and then nothing. You don't hear any of their yips or yaps anymore.
I don't have to hold Deyton back when the hell, do I?
No.
Hey,
you're going to start a howl.
I don't know. Yeah.
Now, it does kind of wake you up when it's not your turn. You wake up and hear it all, and the next morning breaks. You sweep it up and go on with the day. You're at the foot of the valley. It's not really hustling and bustling with wildlife, but it's not devoid. So, it is winter, so...
So, Shani is a survivalist, right?
Yep.
Can she tell us if the lack of, animal sound is due to this pack of animals there, or does it seem like outside influence?
This seems normal for winter, especially with a large group of predators nearby.
Gotcha, so it's just kind of quiet. Right.
You can just set up post here and just kind of meander back and forth across the mouth of the valley if you want to see traffic-wise, if there's anything coming and going.
So this path we're trying to scope out and check from is it starts at Wreckville, then it goes here, and then does it go to a third point before it goes to the fourth?
This valley is the only checkpoint you're in charge of surveying. So basically, it's the drive from Wreckville to here, which they already knew was clear. Mm-hmm. They just didn't know if someone could stay here the night, be safe, and then make it through the valley off to the next destination.
Gotcha. So we've pretty much proven that we can.
You can get up here. You just don't have a place to stay, and you have to be here a week, at least a week, because it could be that only on Thursdays do the zombies come out.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever it is. So, and they just want to get an idea of what they're sending their people into.
It's a weird thing to drop. For people that didn't see, he just dropped a used condom out of his pocket. It's kind of weird.
It was a Magnum, and it's not his. It's weird.
Just Daryl Sharpied on it.
So, you're going to be here a week watching everything that's going on anyway. Just tell me how you want to spend the first day. Are you going to just watch this mouth of the valley? Do you want to start walking through? Shani can fly. She can do a quick aerial right around this area just to see if she sees anything or gets shot out of the sky. Obviously, if she's flying around, that's a good chance that if there's anything else in this valley, you could see her flying around. But this is fairly mundane work.
I'm down for just kind of spending our time on the ground. She doesn't need to fly. We have a week. No reason to get caught. I might as well drive around, look around a little bit on the ground, stay away from the beasts, because I've already cleared all the houses. We know that there's nobody inhabiting the area besides the animals themselves, so it makes sense just kind of drive around the edge of the valley and maybe go out a little ways, towards the next checkpoint and back. Make sure we kind of clear everything,
The only thing is we do need to find like a place that people can stay.
Right,
Yes.
Let's look for that then. Because now that we know that we're safe, relatively, we need to find some place that's safe from the
We
beasts.
should at very least see if there's a place that fits sort of that criteria, maybe on the outskirts.
Okay.
If there is one.
Make a... Let's go ahead and make notice as you're going to... So for the first part of the day, the first couple hours, you're going to wander around the entrance to the valley and see if you can find anything there.
A 3.
A 3.
Is this a regular notice or a +2 to notice?
You always get your plus.
All
Pretty
right.
much.
That's a double critical
I
failure.
don't get plus to anything on that one.
Is that a
It's
critical
double critical
fail?
failure.
Yes, it is.
A critical failure on investigation in a sleepy town.
I really want to mess with you,
You
right
wake
now.
the Kraken, and the Kraken shows up, and there's an ocean appears for some reason.
What?
Wow.
You think you
Alright.
see movement in the trees, and you guys spend 3 hours hunkering down, waiting, tracking through the trees, trying to find this thing that you saw, which ended up being just absolutely nothing. Just wasting, the first part of the day.
You see a boot. It's attached to a giant.
Yeah. You found a boot. It's a troll's boot. It's on the troll. The troll's wearing it. It's the troll's boot.
The troll's weird. It's like Cusco's poison.
Oh, right.
Oh,
the poison. The poison specifically designed to kill Cusco. Cusco's poison. That poison? Yes, that poison! So, you waste the first quarter of the day chasing shadows in the trees, and you find nothing, no types of shelter or no good setups for camps or anything like that.
Do we find a place that we could set up a checkpoint? Does that make sense? Is there some place nearby where we could be like, hey, we could build it with the couple of days we have left?
We don't
have the tools.
You don't have the tools for that.
I can metal work, but
you can metal work. You can cut down trees with her sword and try to make a little cabin or something, but it would be real ramshackle, and that's not really what they're looking for.
And the groups of the beasts, it's a little too much for us to just take on ourselves.
You could just burn everything out, but then you'd have a burned husk of a village and a bunch of dead animals up there.
Not to mention a fire that size would definitely attract attention.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's another thing to note, is anything you do in this valley, any sizable fire will attract attention.
I understand how fire works because when
Because the last time there was a fire burn,
I was very mad.
coalition
I was
came.
very mad.
So
I was upset. I was upset at some stuff.
all right. So you've got still 3/4 of a day left. It'll take you, if you just want to drive straight through, you can get to the end in a quarter day. If you want to meander, it'll take you half a day. Meander and look around and investigate. Otherwise, you can just kind of go halfway in investigating and halfway back.
I'm down for meander. Gives us another notice, doesn't
again,
it? Right?
send Shani up to fly around.
I want to hold off on that for now. Just because, I don't know.
That is pretty much a signal flare of someone's
it's
here.
just like a fire. So I don't know. What do you think? Do we want to meander around a little bit? It gives us another notice check, doesn't it? Give us another notice for the area. Let's do that then.
But you're going into the valley now.
Yes.
You're pretty much heading towards the other end of the valley.
Yeah.
Right. So.
I know I don't want to send Shani up there with that. Hey, look, we're here.
Well, we can do that on the way out. 4. I noticed something this time. Oh,
Did you double 1 again?
No,
It's a 7
and a 1, but it looked just like 2 ones. I was like, son of a bitch.
I know. I was honestly a little worried. I was like, oh my god, I did it again.
There was a half second where I was like, you should just go home.
Yeah,
We'll play next
good
week. What the fuck?
All right.
I mean, if there's anything to critical fail on, it's
Notice, right?
maybe. I mean,
so a 7 and a 4.
She got a 10. Ooh. So as you guys are driving around and on foot, like you're doing switchbacks to get a good coverage in the area. Make me a survival check real quick as well. Because you're getting to the point where you're now underneath where the town is in the back.
5.
You start to see signs of recent disturbances here, and it looks like those wolf cats. This is where they come down. They probably do it every couple days to come down here and hunt. Maybe they do it daily, but the snow is disturbed. There's obvious signs of prey running or leftover from long time ago, snow-covered remains of carcasses that have been eaten. So this looks like you're getting into the hunting grounds of those beasts.
We should probably stay away from this.
I
like set on fire.
Shani calls out, saying, I think I found something weird over the radio. Looks like an unnatural clearing.
Uh-oh. Shall we join her?
We shall.
So you head over to where she's at, and you're like looking out, and there's an area where the trees just stop. And she's standing there, and it's just snow covered basically, and there's some mounds and all that stuff. But it's not like just a big kind of like open, maybe a scorched area or something like that. It's very blockish. Like you can see the lines where the trees don't grow into this area. So there's a large section talking about probably the size of this whole complex, townhouse complex, of just lines, like of straight-edged lines around that no trees are growing. But there's snow on the ground. You just can't tell what the ground is since there's snow on it. But nothing is growing out there.
I can steam off the snow. With very little chance that it gets out of hand.
So, just steam off patch so we can see what's there. Just make a psionics check. It'd be easy.
It wouldn't be smart. It's not psionics.
Psionics. No, it's your control over. It's your control over your ability. I mean, it's super simple. 5.
11.
Oh, 11. Yep, you pick your little chunk and just evaporate it almost immediately, and you see dirt.
Yeah.
But there's nothing growing in the dirt. There's a little bit of grass cover, but...
I attack the dirt.
And you can melt that off, too, if you want to go deeper, but you might want to just, like... Now you know that you could probably walk out there.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to dig or evaporate more of the area to see if you can...
Let's do more of the area. Right. I'm not learning anything.
And you start evaporating more of the area, and you start to see old lines of rubble, man-made materials, concrete, some old rusted-out rebar, and you're starting to get a picture that there were walls, that there was a building out here in the valley on this side. And now the building is completely gone, but nothing is growing on top of it. Nothing is growing over it.
Obscure area.
I'm out! Too freaky for me.
Ninja dust.
I was like, does the fact that nothing was growing over the building mean something?
Well, sure it means something. Like the area where the building was is gone. Sorry, the building is gone from this area, but the plants still continue to gnaw away. It doesn't look like the area burned down at any point or anything like that. Can we ask Shani to make a magic check? Can she check and see if there's magical influences? Or is that something... Oh, yeah, you...
He's not... There's no magical influences. There's nothing magical going on here. You can start, like, picking through, investigating, like walking out there and digging or looking at the patches of rubble and all that stuff.
I would feel better if I threw some stuff out there first, like some rocks.
Grab some branches, rocks. Yeah, and it hits the dirt like dirt.
All right.
Let me investigate.
All right.
Investigate.
You're investigating. Investigate away. Dude, you need to stop doing that.
5. Got a 5.
So,
never mind that thing.
You start to realize that, whatever building this was, like you have some demolition expertise, you know about load bearing and all this. This was a multi-story building, and pretty not like 20 stories or 30 stories, but at least 4 or 5. It had some. You can find some where the load bearing. Posts are the load-bearing parts of the structure, and you're starting to realize that there's nothing growing here because there's still building here.
Oh, we're standing on top of the basement.
There's probably a basement or sub-basements underneath here.
Can you scrabble around and find a stairwell or something?
After a while of investigating, you can find where elevators and a stairwell were, but they're now completely packed in with dirt. And this is like the only places that grass is growing because it can take hold in the amount of dirt that are in these shafts and areas. But if you can get that out, you can dig down into the basement. Dig, Beethoven, dig!
It's Shani and I in like lawn chairs in the beer, watching you like throw dirt underneath between your legs. Oh, get after it.
Go on. Get after it.
So what we're seeing is that this was being built.
No, this was a built structure. And then it's gone from probably the pre-apocalypse to the apocalypse. Everything on the top from the ground up is gone. The elevators, the shafts, and the stairways.
There was a downstairs from here, but the rest of the building was destroyed, and the dirt covered the downstairs. We can dig out the downstairs stairwell if we want to,
and see what's down there.
Gotcha.
So I think we should do an elevator shaft because it'll just be a tube of dirt. If we dig in deep enough, we'll be able to get in around it.
Yeah, if you can figure out which way the hole exits, you can basically just dig a ramp down into there. Or melt. You can melt dirt, but it might
I was have to be careful because when I set things that are not combustible on fire,
it's super hot and it can catch to other things around it.
So anything
you'd essentially risk taking the integrity of the structure down with you. So, like the rest of the structure.
Basically, if it's not flammable, and I roll an 8, 9, or 10, then everything basically catches on fire for 2d6 rounds and burns. So, I can do it, but I might not be able to stop it if it gets out of hand. So, it would probably be better if you guys dig. I'll keep you warm.
So I guess we dig.
Alright, if Shani goes over and pulls off one of the fender, like there's the wheel covers for the ATV, and then kicks off her super strength.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Water boils away in 2d6 rounds. If I roll an 8 or 9, sorry. So everything burns. If I roll a 10. everything burns. But since ground and is not highly flammable or flammable, I would have to roll a 10 to do it.
And then you'd also risk burning just the floor, the concrete, whatever the floor is made out of.
Everything burns. So when I point my fire, the dirt burns, the concrete burns, the air burns.
All right. So, strength checks for you two to see how quickly you can get this done.
Is that just strength itself? Or?
Yep. I mean, strength with your wild die.
Okay. Yeah, I just tried the other D8 because,
Excelente.
4.
And a 1 on your wild die again.
You dig down into the elevator shaft and you dig, and you get down to the point where you see that you find the exit door, and the exit door is still intact. Like, it's still closed and normal, essentially. I mean, it's old. So you dig out enough around it so that Shani can just grab it and open it, and then once it's open, a lot of the dirt just spills into the open area beyond. But you two are down there doing that, so when she opens that up, you slide into this dark old basement area.
So I can...
as he shuffles.
Yeah, right. So do we have a few minutes? Can we sit around for a few minutes?
Yeah.
So I can imbue an item with light permanently if I spend 10 minutes and some magic.
Some ISP.
Oh, no. That is 10 PP to do that. So I'm not going to do that. Never mind. I can make his torches, but then so basically what I'll do is I'll follow you guys and I'll turn my armor on. That should be enough light. Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you just come down here and flame on?
Well,
and you can at any time just create a fire in your hand.
That's true. I'm just saying,
I
was like, I can make this permanent. Yeah. I can make you guys flashlights forever. I need to do that sometime anyway. Yeah. So we have to want them, but I always seem to think about that when it's too late. All right, so I'm on fire. We go into the hole. Let's do it.
So you seem to be in the lobby or the elevator bay of some building, an old building. The ground is concrete. The walls are bare. Looks like they're metal. They're old, kind of pocked up and rusty.
There's no markings on the walls, any paintings or posters or anything like that might allude to what it was. No, nothing.
And there seems to have been like some type of device, like maybe a camera or something, that was in the middle of the roof of the elevator bay. But now it's just kind of like a hole with some dirt hanging down out of it after it's eroded away. And there's just a pile of who knows what underneath it. Whatever it was that fell down is now pretty much disintegrated over the degraded or biodegraded over the centuries. There's several exits from this area. You also see where the stairwell was. A lot of the doors down here are still intact. And they are slide doors with what used to be keypad entries. Obviously, there's no power down here.
So let's try prying one of the doors open and see how difficult this is going to be.
She still has her super strength on, so she just...
So that's not going to be an issue. Doors aren't really blocking our path, per se.
No.
All right, so what do we see behind this door?
In that door, you see what looks to be a clean room, which then opens up to a hallway with observation windows on the lefts and rights.
It's like a medical operating theater.
Looks like a lab or medical facility of some type.
Neat.
Cool. So start to walk through this place?
Let's do it floor by floor, because I know part of me wants to get down to the bottom and see what's going on and come back up, but I think it would make more sense if we kind of wrap around. So let's continue clearing this floor.
Going through, it looks like a technical facility of some sort. There was a lot of storage, clean rooms, assembly rooms. You also see a lot of things that are embedded in walls. Like, you see a lot of the places where those things, like, were cameras or whatever monitoring that were in the ceilings, and all of those have been gone. Like, they rotted through from the top. But there's stuff that's on the floor or in the walls that is still there. Like, looks like small bays or doors that open up. Going through this level, not a whole lot going on. Nothing that's salvageable. Almost everything is degraded.
We're going to see less damage as we go down, so let's go down.
Go down. On the next floor, you start to see your first sign of human remains. Ancient. Like, these are just bones that are left.
The femur in his mouth.
They're here and there. Some of them still have what is left of, what was probably badges or suits that they had on, like clean suits with visors and things like that. Some of the parts, nothing that was fabric or plastic is still around, but some of the metal and some of the glass is still there. If it was part of that, and some of the more longer lasting, new age materials from the previous era. Again, this part of the facility is more storage, and there's some other larger rooms that you're very unsure of their purpose. They almost look like testing bays. Like, you ever seen those commercials with where they're testing the aerodynamics of cars and have the big fan on one side? It's pretty much like a long bay, and then there'll be like things in the bay that look like they were used for testing, like a big concrete wall or things like that. So maybe they're building vehicles or something here, robots, who knows. That's pretty much the entirety of the second floor, and then the third floor seems to be all engineering. So this is laid open exposed pipes. What used to be maintenance thing, access to kind of the roots of all the building and its power and all that stuff. The most interesting part of this is when you get to the center, there is a reactor, and there's a lot of remains around it. Looks like there was like a last stand, or people, like, this last place people were pushed to during the apocalypse or whatever. But there's some blinky lights on the reactor. There's still power in this thing.
What?
It is a reactor. So
obscure power.
Yeah, obscure. Don't want to see those blinky lights.
Ash surrounds the generator. Well, I guess we should go investigate the power. Let's see what's going on. Like, it's something we can use, something we can turn back on. It might make our investigation easier. Or we can assess its danger. If it looks like it's dangerous. If we look at it, it's like overloaded, 16, 15. I'm like, damn it. 200 years the timer was on.
Or you turn it back on just so it was like, they stopped it at 1. And so it comes like 1, 0.
Fifth element, 3,
yep.
2,
and then the other bomb comes up. So you walk up to the control panels. I mean, you're the only one that can read. Shani can read, but
I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, that's not true. I have some engineering knowledge.
Yeah.
So should I check?
Yeah. Roll it.
See what we got here. Boom! Bitches. 11.
Yeah, you've seen you've seen more complicated reactors in the modern day because they're all like put together from what this old tech was. This is like you flip this switch, you turn this, and then two people have to hit this button at the same time, and this thing will light back up. Supposedly, you don't know if it has enough. You don't know if it has a starter, like if it has enough in it to do that.
Yeah, well, I can skinny that with you guys. Like, I can probably turn this thing back on if we want. Because if this sounds silly, but if this turns out being not crazy down here, this is a pretty good shelter, especially if it has power. So
yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, well, we may have just discovered the shelter we could use because we could even keep it hidden from above using something to cover up a little.
We'll just throw some more dirt on and plant. That's all we have to do. Yeah.
Let's see if the black market has a druid to come over here and grow some trees on this thing.
What do you want to give it a shot? Do you want to try turning it on?
Yeah, why not?
Because we might die. Because it might blow up. Let's try it. All right.
I don't think it's going to blow up. There's nothing around here that points to this, that has any signs of like, oh, this thing might blow up on us.
Well, this will make everything easier too. We won't have to rely on Shani to superpower open the doors for us. We might be able just to open stuff because I'm assuming that as we get lower, the damage is less as well.
Oh yeah,
it's like less dirty, less crazy.
Except for this place, which is like all exposed pipes and metal, and this metal is pretty old, like rusty over and all that. I mean, everything is still serviceable. Nothing you saw was massively disturbed, but I mean, just imagine if you left pipes, anything like
for 150 years,
300.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Let's try to turn it back on.
All right, it's easy enough. You don't have to make a roll. You already figured it out. So just two of you have to hit the switch. You hit it.
Let's do it together now. This thing.
You hear, everything kind of shudders, like the whole building, dirt and dust, fall off ceilings and all this, like, and you hear that hum of it trying to catch up. You feel like the energy, the heat in the reactor core, and it starts to go up, and then just something peters out. Like it's like, and you just feel that heat dying, like in there. Whatever the element is that was going to start this reaction failed. It's just too old.
Can I attempt to reheat it?
You can absolutely do that.
That sounds like
you can set off a nuke. Go right ahead.
It sounds like something I would try to do. Okay, so that would be fire mastery.
Yeah, that's just make a psionics roll.
All right. I would also not consult anybody on this.
Yeah, you don't have enough time. Like you feel that
4.
It's getting nice and cold. You want to spin the penny?
Yep.
Keep that when you're supposed to have 2.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was supposed to have 1. So
yeah. And then he has 4.
You have 4. Okay, I thought you had 3. I had 1. All right.
Yeah. You have. Yeah. Everyone's supposed to start with 3. You start with 2. He starts with 4.
Gotcha. 6.
Oh, did you re-roll, or did you just want to add to the roll?
I want to add to the roll.
Okay, so just roll a d6.
Okay, sorry. So
yeah, sorry.
Right. I didn't. No, it's okay. My bad. So I did 4. Add 3, so 7.
7. All right. Okay. So you like you're not dying on me, reactor. Everything shudders again as that temperature rises, and then it quickly you're like I'm gonna build it up, and then it just goes off the charts. Even from your ability, it smolders. It takes off, and you can whoop. Everything's like comes on. Lights turn on. Panels light up.
It's not a turn on sound.
Then suddenly
everything's
power and his explosion. So his explosion.
I'm just saying there was like that half a second where you were like everything turns off. I'm like what?
My sound effects.
Boom! The light comes on.
The light that comes on though is flashing red, and all the panels start screaming out at you. It's like threat Omega.
It's fine. Threat Omega.
Threat Omega. The
lowest threat
red
level.
Lights are going like everywhere. You're starting to see as facility cameras. Some of the cameras come back up, and some of the control panels. upstairs in the second level, those big bay areas, some of the doors or flaps that you've seen, like things embedded in the walls, open up and security bots start pouring out.
They're supposed to do that. Turn stuff on. They're probably here to clean stuff.
They're not here to kill anything that's moving.
Well, this sounds silly. While we're here and I've turned everything on, will my engineering skill give me any kind of knowledge? Can I look around and see control panel? Can I turn those things off and on?
You can try to use your engineering to take the threat level, like to basically turn the emergency off.
Well, I've gone this far. I would probably at least now that we're in a panic, let's try to turn the alarm off.
So it's going to be a -2 because you don't have computing.
Yeah, all right.
But you get to use your engineering skill. No one has computers, right?
No.
Okay.
Nice.
Damn.
14.
So you walk over and you're like looking at one of the control panels, and it
Hello, computer.
it reminds you of like a video game you had as a kid. Like it's the same kind of UI interface. Like you're starting to go through. Meanwhile, these things are systematically, going floor by floor looking for threats, and then they start coming down to this floor, and you and Shani are like over at the door to the reactor room, like ready to thwart off these robots that are going to be coming in here and killing everything. And as they're turning the corner and scan and like raise their weapons, you're like doot, and like threat level Omega ended. The red lights go to yellow and then they go to white.
There was no need for engineering. Yeah.
Everything like just kind of powers on to normal, normal lighting, normal everything. The robots like look at you, and then like their little red scanning lights turn blue, and they're like, good day, welcome to the Hartford facility, and they turn around and walk off.
Obscure area. Right.
So
I'm still a little shaken from the turn on sound being like, Jesus.
Well, congratulations, you have yourself a
lucky 14
fort.
Roll, right?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll keep looking down.
There's nothing else below here.
Oh, alright, well, there we are.
There's access tunnels to some more maintenance level, like it's not even a full level, but it's like you can go down
crawl
spaces to get more into the reactor area and stuff like that. But
right.
This is it.
We have done it.
You're starting to see, like, as you come back up, a lot of those little, like, bays and everything that are in the walls, the cubbies and stuff like that, have automated turrets and all kinds of stuff. So whatever facility this was, it was doing something pretty hardcore.
Yeah. So now that it's all on and stuff like that, is there any way that I can set it so that I can, like, basically, like, next time somebody comes back and, like, here's the password?
Yeah. You can, you just kind of memorize or jot down what you did, where the controls were, what they are.
Okay.
It's not going to see anyone coming in at the moment as a threat, but you just need to tell them to send someone.
So if anybody comes down, it won't just attack them immediately. Okay, cool, perfect. That's what I was getting at. I don't want to send our black market guys get mowed down by security forces.
This is a huge boon for the black market. Like, there's robots here. They can repurpose those. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't just, like, it's kind of cool to use some of these to defend the smugglers. But
it's not just that either. The power plant itself is still operative, and it's powering nothing right now. There's so much extra power.
So this is like you can make a town on this.
I can negotiate for more payment for this. Except,
no charisma.
Yeah,
no negotiation.
I'm not key anymore.
Will you ever be key again?
I don't know.
So, you have a facility. It's nice.
Sweet. Well, I don't know. You want to camp here for the night, or you want to go up top and scout out and see if that...
Yeah, you've pretty much wasted... there's only a quarter, eighth of a day left.
Well, we had to stay here for at least a week. How many days have we been here now?
2.
Okay, well... let's kill a day in here and look around.
Yep, you just finished looking around now that you can access everything, go through all the doors, open up the bays. It looks like it was probably a power armor production facility. That's the robots.
We're just kind of in the power plant part of the building.
Yeah, you're just at the bottom, and it looked like they did some testing down here in those bays. Like they would, test thrusters or guns or whatever. Who knows? Like most likely the main floor was general assembly where they would put everything together. Top floors were administration, but now you're down here where they just stored all the parts and tested their work.
Sweet.
And had the reactor.
We can't really scrounge anything from the parts because we don't power armor. There's nothing he can do to like build up or.
No, I mean you can try to take apart some of the robots and stuff, but.
Yeah, my engineering's not that great. There's some metal working, but I mean that would just be like if you needed repairs, I could weld stuff. That would be about it. All right.
So you spend the rest of the time poking through all that, and sleep the night away. Do you go up top at all to monitor the valley at night? I assume you went back and
military gang.
Cleared away the dirt from where the elevator shaft was, so you can close that door. But you can go up there a couple times to see what the state of the valley is.
I guess we would peek out and take a look, make sure nothing different is going on than the usual. At least what we know is the usual.
Pretty much at right around midnight, all the wolf cats howl, and that's about it.
This seems pretty safe. What else can we do with it the next couple of days to kind of ensure that we've got what we think we've got here?
Well, you need to go to the end of the valley. You've only gotten halfway through it. So you need to check out the rest. Just make sure there's no other big threats out there. And then just watch, you have to watch that valley to see, do sky cycles fly past here? Is there a migration of Zytikic? Is there anything that occurs here?
So I think when we get up in the day, we should just head towards the end of the valley. We've already found that the town is basically abandoned with animals around it, which actually might act as a deterrent. People won't readily kind of go in there. We found a nice little base that's secret and buried, so we might as well just keep moving on.
All right.
Nothing else to do here.
Obviously, we probably have to mark it.
It's marked by an absence of trees.
Then you can mark it on the map you have. The exact location.
I see what you're saying. I thought you were make a square with chalk around it. There it is. We leave a blinking light.
So anyone can find it. The next day, you get up, head up to the top. Not much is going on. You see some freshly disturbed snow around the area from the feet of the wolf cats from the day before. A light flurry starts to come down as you head out towards the end of the valley.
Onward to the end of the valley.
Notice checks.
Dang. Come on, higher than a 2. All right, 3 is higher than 2. I got a 4.
She got a 16.
You got a 16? Jesus.
So, as you're going through, there's not much more to this valley going on. But as you get to the end, all of you start sensing something in a different way. You start to feel that crackle of extra power and energy, and you start to feel your senses getting muffled and dumbed.
Oh, he feels his
Yes.
senses.
Yeah.
There is a ley line at the end of the valley.
So, I'm psionic, not magic.
Correct. But it still powers you.
So I would get my 3 ISP back just kind of... Well, we already
You've-
spent a whole
yeah,
thing
you've
on
already
that
spent.
when I sang, but yeah, I was just going to say, I would feel an increase immediately, I'm sure.
And so does she.
Yeah.
So does Shani.
Bonus.
So,
Now I should set stuff on fire.
All the stuff.
So Valley on Fire. Obscure Valley. All right, we're having to use the restroom real quick.
All right.
Quick break.
Break yourself, fool.
Should have got an energy drink to go.
I'm tired. Looking kind of droopy.
I know. Sorry. I realize like I've been quiet too. I'm just like.
Snap out of it, Deyton. You got a raid tonight, don't you?
Yeah, 1 a.m.
God damn.
Well, when I go home, I have coffee at home.
I need a coffee maker here.
You fucking do need a coffee maker.
I fucking do. Hey, Doodle.
Do you take your coffee black, or do you have to have cream and sugar and
Black.
stuff? I can do hot coffee, black.
Yeah, listen, me too. I can't.
If it's iced, I have to have like a flavor or something.
I have to have like a little sweetener or something in that. I mean, right now on the diet, I can't do any of that.
Yeah.
It was a long time. Like I used to drink soda and pour tons of cream and sugar into coffee and all that stuff. And I'm like, I just have to cut this out. So I learned how to drink just plain iced tea and straight black coffee.
Yeah, I mean, during the summer, we would usually we'd make coffee. It'd be hot. Put it in a container, put it in the fridge, get it cold. And then when we wanted it, we'd pour it in, and then we'd have like a sugar-free sweetener just to be a little better.
I can get some stevia. I'm just wondering if I should get a Keurig style single cup. Eric doesn't drink coffee.
Yeah, then that might work best. Because we have, the ground, put it in the filter and blah, blah, blah.
I think I have one of those.
And I like it just because it means, there's some left over even the next day, and I don't care if it's day-old coffee. Just heat that shit up, and we're good to go.
Gross. I'm just kidding. I don't want coffee.
Face is gross.
Well, that may be the case.
All right. So you are coming up to the end of the valley, and up kind of over the ridge to the north, a small, which is 2,000 feet wide and 200 feet tall, ley line is coursing through the end of the valley. It's cutting through. It's not like barring the end of the valley. It's cutting along the same way. But then you see a smaller ley line, a tiny, only 500 feet wide, 200 foot tall, come up from the south, and past the end of the valley, there's a nexus point out there.
I was about to say, if there's more than one line, it's the nexus, which is
Right.
not good. So.
The flurry has been steadily picking up, and it's coming down pretty hard now. You're pumping out some juice to keep everyone warm, essentially. Keep the snow away from all you. Chill.
I was going to say, we would need to observe this more than anything at this point, because anything could come out of there. Anything.
Yeah, it's not. There's no rift on it at the moment, but
No.
you need to watch to see if it's unstable.
If it's attracting other things.
Right, there may be something on there. You might even have to get a little bit closer.
Well, it's snowing hard. We have survival equipment, right?
Right.
Can we camp out here nearby, or should it be better if we just go back?
You can camp out, as long as you're there. Your survival equipment is good enough for most situations, but in a snowstorm you'd want better cover. But if you just keep a nice globe of heat around everyone, you should be able to keep everyone. It's just the wind hitting you.
What do you think about staying here and watching?
He's going to hate every minute of it.
I was like, yeah, I don't...
If he gets too much closer, he's going to start taking fatigue.
Can we get up higher? Like, can we go back up to the ridge and kind of look down on it? Get a better view without him being hurt?
Foothills kind of end, like the valley is kind of sheer at this point, but there is a road and cleared off way on the southern side if you want to head towards that and get up.
Would we still be able to observe? We'd be able to observe. Yeah. So let's do that then, so that you're not dying.
Okay.
You know, I mean, like, it's not like chalkboard scratches all night for you. Yeah.
All right. So you were observing this. So that's fun. Let's make a notice while you're waiting. Oh, double ones.
Yay! 3.
What is my notice?
It's going to be -2 because of ley line.
Okay.
What's your +2?
So even.
Does your
I was re-roll it. I was going to 6.
So 6.
And what'd you get?
3.
Shani is like, it's almost like she's on a caffeine high or something. Like she can't sit still. She's pacing. Like she says her joints feel weird. Like she's like little ache, just nervous twitch type stuff. And she's just pacing and walking around. Like, she's like, no, that's fine. Everything's fine. But irritable and quick talking and just, wringing her hands and acting strange. Watching the ley line, you see there's a couple lightning strikes come through the flurry to the ley line, or they might come out from the ley line. You don't know what's going on with that. Then there's a pretty big buildup of wind. Like it starts to get pretty windy. You're up against the rock face, so it's not as bad where you're at, but you can start to see it's picking up whole drifts of snow and moving it everywhere. Then sleet starts to come down with the snow, and then there's more lightning emanating from the ley line and the nexus. And that's when a big kind of blue cloud just emanates out from the nexus up into the sky, and it starts infusing all of the snow with ley energy. And you're now witnessing what is the beginning of a ley line storm.
Cool. I successfully ignore what's happening.
This is when you want to get somewhere not outside.
We would probably want to go back underground real quick.
So who wants to roll on these fun charts?
What fun charts are
these are some fun charts. Let's start with give me a d6 roll. Let's shape your own fate here.
Me?
Yes, you.
A single d6 or do I also?
No, just a single d6. A chart roll.
Oh, this is going to be like lay sickness, I think, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. 2. Negation.
So all of a sudden, when this cloud goes up and it starts to funneling out and it starts to, like, you can see the blue, like, wisps of magic coming through the flurries, you all get really fucking cold. Really cold. Like, just instantaneous. All of a sudden, you can't control fire anymore.
Yep.
And she can't do any of her stuff. She can't call her sword. She can't.
As soon as said negation, I was like, "Fuck!" That's like, what could 1 be? 2 is really bad.
It's 1, 2.
Oh, is it okay? There it is. Son of a
anything
bitch,
else
man.
is better. Like anything else.
Yeah,
is
right.
Better.
So we need to start running.
Yeah, you need to.
Like, I can do nothing.
Jump on the quad and get the hell out of here. So everything you do. Well, you can't do any abilities now. You can't use any powers and all that stuff.
I have nothing.
Almost anything, all your trait tests, because the feedback you're getting, the magical feedback, is at -2.
I mean, other than the only
you're taking a fatigue right now as this hits you. And go ahead and roll a d8. Let's see what the first fun effect of the storm is as you try to get out of here. So that was just the effect it has on magic. Now we're seeing what the storm is doing. Oh, you're going to let him roll? I was going to let him roll.
Oh, yeah, no, you should roll that. That's right. I did roll last time. They're all bad, so it doesn't matter what you roll. There's no, like, unicorns help you along your way. You had the same roll that I did anyway.
4.
4.
We were destined to get a 4.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah, put that away. Is that a 7? Okay, it looks like a 1 again. I'm like, dude, stop at the 1s. Cool it with the nutsacks already.
So, you're running for the quad to get on it, and all of a sudden, you start to feel pretty good. Like, you start to feel all right, and almost like fearless, and like, who cares about the cold and the snow and the lightning? You heal your fatigue. Like, you do not feel fatigued anymore. If anyone had wounds, they healed that too. But you don't really want to run anymore. You don't really, like, you're going to stand in the face of this storm.
Woo!
The effect of euphoria.
Don't obscure area. Yeah.
A wave of joy and fearlessness grips everyone.
We all high-five each other. Yeah, motherfucker. Woo!
All right.
I like you, man. Sorry I set you on fire a long time ago.
Do you want me to roll the next D8 to see what happens next, or do you want to roll it?
I've already been blamed for one of these things. At least it only happened to me. Oh, why you roll the big one?
Bam! All right. So you guys are sitting out here and like you're seeing this build up of all this energy and all that, and you're like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, we'll never see this again in our lives and all that stuff. And then a lightning bolt that is probably 100 feet wide just builds up and comes down into the middle of the valley right where you guys are, just blasting everything. So you take...
So do I still... What, hang on. Even though I don't have any magical abilities, do I still take less damage from electricity and fire?
Yeah, sure. But this is magic lightning. It's not really electricity.
So no. No.
Also, you rolled a 7 and somehow it's a big fucking lightning bolt.
And nothing. That's what I was saying. There's nothing good.
There's nothing good on this.
in the late
Like,
storm. This is not
you
good.
could have been escaping and gotten away from this, but you hit the euphoria first, which stopped you in your tracks.
That's why when he started saying there's snow, that's why I was like,
what is your...
boom,
what is you
negation.
with armor?
Like, this is bad.
11?
Yeah.
Okay. This thing hit for you for 9 mega damage. So it didn't penetrate the armor, but your armor is not all encasing, so it still shook the hell out of you. So you're flat on your ass, shaken. Your senses are gone. Like, you can't smell, hear, like, you can barely see. You're just overloaded with sensory data.
Look, I'm all happy.
Yeah, and you're still fearless, and this is just a joyride right now.
Remember when I did that to you a couple
people that are magic take 4d6 mega damage.
Oh, that's great.
Ow. 5, 10, 14, 15. So what is your normal toughness?
5. So
5.
That's 3 wounds, right?
That is
2 wounds.
2 wounds?
It's 2. I'm shaking with 2 wounds, I think.
Shaking with 2. So 14. So it would be 9, then 13, then 17 would be the third wound. So you're shaken with 2 wounds. Technically, the mega damage would have just incinerated you, but I'm not going to be that cruel.
That's what I was thinking. He was like, you said mega damage though, so this would be like, my guts would be liquefied. Yeah.
She is in the same boat as you. She took the same amount of damage. Also, you lose 8 ISP. Just instantly blasted out of you. And so does she. Not like it helps you right now anyway. So you guys are going to have to make a smarts check. As you see, like, you're looking up and you're seeing it build up again. Like, it's that same phenomena is building back up after this thing. So you need to make a smarts check. -2. Sorry.
4.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. With -2 while hurt really bad.
And the quad is gone. It just evaporated in parts.
Don't look at me, I didn't do this. 3, -2 is 1.
Alright. So you are the only one that has snapped out of the euphoria and you realize how much danger everyone is in right now.
So do I need to roll to get out of shaking?
No. Like, you're not in combat, so it really doesn't matter. But he's on the ground, flat on his back, laughing. I can't hear anything. My tongue tastes weird. Shani's also like on the ground. She's just like jittery, like giddy almost, like a kid in a, seeing a snowstorm for the first time. You're the only one that has your wits about you at the moment.
All right. Obscure.
Can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't do anything right now. Okay, so the quad is gone. So am I able to like slap some sense into him?
You can try.
Let's try that. Would that be healing?
What would that be?
It would be like persuasion pretty much.
All right.
Or intimidation if you had it.
I don't know.
So, wow.
A
8.
Okay.
I'm like...
he's over top of you, smacking you around, saying, we can't survive another one of those.
And bleeding on you very heavily.
You see that he's like, you can't really hear much, you can't smell much, your mouth tastes funny. But you're starting to realize that he is afraid, and that means you should care. You're starting to come to about what's going on. Hear that now?
Probably do the same thing with Shani.
You could just pick up Shani. She weighs a buck to you.
So we should do that and get the fuck out of here.
All
right.
But my movement is wrecked because of my wounds too, isn't it?
Yeah, -2 to your pace. And she can't heal. Everything's negated.
Can't do anything yet.
You can try
I carry both?
You can, actually. You're just going to be weighed down by their weight, but you'd still run faster. Or you can take a turn to do a healing check on yourself to try to soothe the burning. And all
I'd rather
that
not see what another round of this does. So we need to get the fuck out of here.
So you want to grab them both and start running?
Yeah.
All right. So you grab them both and start running. A couple turns goes by, and the next effect is going off. So
An 8.
D8.
Two. It's negation, right?
No, that was the effect on magic. These are its actual physical effects that are taking place in the real world.
Can't be good though.
None of it's good. It's a fucking late storm.
Right?
Yeah, but I'm guessing, rolling higher is probably better than rolling lower.
No, 7 was a lightning bolt that almost killed everybody.
I'm not using some of the rules. I'm just testing these out. But if you're near a nexus, you're supposed to roll a d10 instead, so that you'll constantly get the higher numbers. Because the chart only goes to 8, but it's 8 plus essentially. So you just keep rolling the higher numbers. So, but they're all bad. They're truly, really just all are bad. If you had euphoria again, you would have healed. But
that's true.
No, this is airlift. Everyone and everything, vehicles included, in the group is lifted off the ground about 10 feet into the air, surrounded by even more intense crackling blue-white energy. The winds of the ley line storm carry everything along the ley line at about 30 to 40 miles per hour for 7 to 10 minutes before dropping the whole group back to the ground. Only mechanically powered flight can escape this effect. Everything that hits the ground at the end takes 5d6 damage from velocity and impact.
Uh-oh.
So, you're getting picked up in the air. You're holding both of them. You're going through trees. So you can try to grab hold of trees or stuff people into trees so that they can grab hold and then grab hold of yourself.
I'm still conscious enough to be able to grab a hold of tree. I don't know what state Shani's in. But
If you yell her to grab hold, like she's fearless and in euphoria, but it doesn't mean she's not going to take commands.
That's a good point. So I think you should try to get us to hold on ourselves, because I don't think all of our success should be hinged on your role.
Yeah, and it would be in a negative because you're carrying two people essentially. So you can basically as you let go of them as you're getting lifted and yell to everyone to grab hold of the tree. Strength checks.
Strength checks?
I was going to ask if it was agility, because that would be better.
No, it's easy to grab hold. It's whether you can keep hold.
You got a 3,
I got a 3.
You want to spin a Benny?
Yes. We're going to add 1d6 added to that, right?
Yep. I'm going to give you a Benny for snapping out of being the only person to snap out of the
I got
euphoria.
a total of 8 then.
What'd you get?
I got a 5.
Okay. So you and Shani are barely holding on. You've got a pretty good grip. Now you have to roll vigor for... You're going to make 2 vigor checks for the 10 minutes that you would be up here trying not to get swept away.
Whoa. 9.
Ooh, double 6s.
That's what he got.
6, 12, 11. If you got a double 6s, she got a 6, 12.
Yeah, I got double 6 and then a 3 and a 2. So.
17. What did you get?
9.
9. You don't have to roll again. You're
All
good
right.
for the entire duration.
Get in there. Go after it.
Meanwhile, I got
Yeah.
a 6.
Okay. Roll again for the second half of the 10 minutes, the next 5 minutes.
Then I got a 3.
Spend
Spend
a
a
penny.
penny?
Yes, 100%. You're not going to survive a 35 mile an hour or 60 mile an hour drop.
D6 added to that?
Yeah.
Let me add 2 more to that.
It's a 5.
So you hold on.
Success.
Um,
God. Is this like this is Thirsty's bar now? Is it tink all the dice? I've been poisoned. I've poisoned you with my bad luck. Now my luck is decent and yours is terrible.
all right. So eventually the wind dies down and you can climb down out of the trees and start your run again.
Do I have to pick them up again?
I mean, yeah. I'm already
Yeah,
hurt.
they're still both
They're
hurt.
still
Yep.
wounded, so...
Roll another D6.
That guy?
Yes.
6.
Would you like him to roll again?
1.
7 total, if that matters.
Okay.
Outrageous lightning bolt.
You can
A nuke gets dropped on you.
feel your heat come back. So you are the negation seems to be gone. Like everyone's warm again near him and all that stuff. His normal effect is going off. But the energy feels weird. You don't know what would happen if you try to actually use an ability. So.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there. This doesn't feel right. Like nothing feels right about the magic around you right
Gotcha. Okay.
now. So
Emergency use only.
you're picking them back up and running. Make me a running check. Do you have running ability?
Don't have a running ability. I don't even know if that was an
I don't
ability.
think it is. Make a vigor.
I said you want me to roll the pace? Or?
Yeah.
Ranged.
Mainly, it's I know how fast you run. It's carrying the people.
There we
and
go.
keeping it up.
Hey, that's
Fucking
the stuff
A, man.
dreams are made of.
14.
Nice.
14.
You're doing fine. You're making good time. Let's get one more effect off on you guys and see what happens before you get back to the facility.
It's all you.
Fuck. Why couldn't I have saved that? Maybe.
Right, because it's all bad anyway. Was it 5?
3.
Well, at least we haven't seen this effect yet.
Rolling thunder. A black roiling cloud bursts along the ley line at about 60 miles per hour. As it passes, everyone within it is drenched, knocked prone, and shaken by tremendous thunderclaps. So, like, through the valley, this thing rolls through. He shakes all the trees, knocks some down, wrecks the place. You guys are all knocked down, shaken. So we're going to need recoveries from shaken to see if you can get back up fast enough before the next effect goes off.
Recovery from shaken is a 6?
Spirit.
Oh, okay, cool. 5.
Ooh, God, a 10 and a 6. 11 and a 15. God damn. Yeah, she's boing, right back up.
The one that has to carry you guys is probably good at that.
Gonna
Double 1s. You fall on your bayonet.
I got a 5. It's okay.
5, good enough to shake the shaken, get them start running again.
Shake it up.
So that delay means just as you're getting to the facility, one last effect goes off. Picks you up, airlifts.
Yeah, right. Starts over 10 for fucking minutes. That's lightning bolt.
That's the massive lightning bolt. It happens back on the Nexus.
All right, cool.
So you got out of that area. But another one, like, big old bolt. You see the whole crackling energy refilling itself. The whole valley shakes again under the thunder. You guys get to the shaft. Take the debris that's in it. There's fallen trees now all over this where the facility was. But you dig down in there, open the door, and get into the facility where once those doors close, it's quiet. Like, can't even hear that stuff going on out there, but you still feel the magic energy is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do I feel better though?
Yeah, you're
away from
it. You're not getting bombarded. Your senses are starting to come back.
Well, that was fun.
I want to go investigate the valley tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's camp here. Worst idea ever.
So you weather the storm.
As soon as you were like blue cloud, I was like, no,
not a daylight storm.
No.
Why couldn't the cloud be red?
Anything but lay energy.
You weather the storm. You tentatively peek out the next day. The magic has seemed to subside, and you feel normal again. You recover your ISP normally. Shani then tentatively attempts to heal, and it works, so everyone can get healed up. When you check back in the valley is kind of wrecked. I mean, there's just debris, trees, dust and debris everywhere. There's tree branches and all that stuff just coating the ground. None of those trees have snow on them anymore. The snow has been built up into nice big drifts along the walls and at the bases of trees. And as you spend the next 4 days surveying this place, you also notice that the wolf cats were severely agitated and even aggravated by the storm. Like they become a little bit more predatory, and they go out at odd times. They will like if they see you, they kind of attack on sight, but they're nothing you can't ward off. Yeah. Scare them off with fire. Like they can't get through your armor or anything like that. But
so everything's fine here as long as you don't come on the first of the month.
And who knows if that's a regular occurrence or not, but it's definitely something you're going to want to tell them that, hey, there's a nexus there and a storm, but there's also this facility.
Come at it from this angle and don't go outside.
Yeah, come room over here, stay in this place, don't go into the town, don't go into the valley, you're fucking golden.
It's going to take you longer than anticipated to get back to Wreckville because you now no longer have transport.
Mm-hmm.
I hum obnoxiously the whole trip. Like not real songs, just like
just a little bit off key,
And then we're home.
The way back is fairly uneventful. nothing really comes out and gets you. You have to camp a couple times. But you get back to Wreckville.
How late are we? Like 2 days, 3 days?
2 days later.
2 days,
yeah.
okay. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, your armor's got to get some polish on it. Get out those burn marks. But you enter back into Wreckville. The heroes of Wreckville have returned.
Yeah.
It isn't too long before Cupcake finds you.
Cupcake
The
now.
conversion Borg. And you deal with the same person you dealt with the first time, the old woman. Verity Kincaid. Welcome back. Y'all look like you've been put through the ringer.
You can say something like that.
Oh, well, got your report?
We do. We found an abandoned town at the peak of a valley, kind of the top of a valley, right?
It's on the side of it's on the side of one of the valleys.
It's got nothing in it other than some wild wolf cats, and we found an underground facility that still has power. It looks like it might have been an armory of some sort pre-destruction. And we found a nexus point that subjected us to a ley storm.
Oh, that's not good. Well, tell me about this facility you found.
I'd probably give her some basic technical knowledge about what it is. Like it's like this,
It's
it
got
runs
this,
like this.
robots, you tell her all the assets to it and all that.
There's the instruction sheet for turning it off and on. Kind of junk.
Well, now, the nexus right there, this may not pan out to be so good a route as we originally thought, but that facility is mighty interesting. We do appreciate that knowledge.
Why would you shuffle cards we're just discussing?
Cupcake opens fire.
Yeah. Obscure area.
So, well. All in all, I'm glad you got it back in one piece. Sorry to hear about your scooter there. But, would have been, you'd have had to sell it anyway. What with the smuggling and all.
So about that.
When y'all ready to go?
Well, other than the scooter was the last thing we needed to sell, right? Like we've gotten rid of everything that we needed to get rid of beforehand.
The ATV. Yep, everything else.
All right, so I don't know. Are you ready to head out?
As far as I know, we're ready to go now. But for after that experience, not to have to take on some other stupid mission where we almost die.
Well,
Just saying. That's,
no,
that's how I would feel. And
it's a valid point.
Yeah.
Just put me on a fucking Nexus ley line. Like, I'd like none of that.
Well, each of you get 5,000 credits for your job. They say they'll send out a team, and they greatly appreciate you scouting that and finding that facility. They'll make a full report and all that stuff, and it'll be added to your red star or your black market status line. It's basically tied to your cards, the specific cards you have, and your names. If you give the black market your names, they now have a file on you.
Gotcha.
So they can look up, like later on, if you want to find out what happened to that facility, you can find a black market person, say your name, and you'll get a report on whatever happened to that, which
Gotcha.
also may give you more credit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they may, we salvaged this much from it, and you guys were
instrumental in its apprehension.
You guys were entitled to 2% of the salvage rights or whatever it is, whatever their black market contracts state. It's like, but other than that, I think we're all ready to go.
All right.
So, again, they're in the same building you were the first time. There's hustle and bustle of people moving around. You guys move downstairs, and you see that they have like a freight elevator, and they're moving cargo up from downstairs to the first floor of this building, and then stowing it in some of the rooms. But you guys go downstairs, and you see there's in the basement, there's stacks and stacks of crates and other things as they're moving guns and foodstuffs and whatever it is that the black market is selling or distributing in this area. And they go through a walk-in type thing. It looks like it used to be a walk-in freezer down here. And that area has been cleared out. It's completely empty. There's the metal walls. And there's a huge circle drawn in with like a pentagram and other sigils and all kinds of stuff going on the ground there. And there is a man he's kind of hunched. His arm looks kind of gimped, and he has just a cowl covering most of his body. He's just sitting over in a corner at a table, drinking a coffee, reading a book, and he looks up. She says, "Our guests are ready to go, and we've got some cargo to move through, so fire her up." And he stands up, goes over the circle, kneels down in a nice little open circle that's part of the ritual circle, starts chanting, kind of gravelly voice. Some workers move in some crates, and eventually a portal opens up, in which a mini rift opens up in front of you.
Your hearing goes to shit.
Yeah, your magic sense. I mean, you smelled that he was magic, and this whole thing is magic when you got down here. But then it just flooded, like just.
I smell that coffee was more than one day old.
Through the rift, you see a little pathway, like a dirt pathway, going to what looks like a quaint little cabin with smoke coming out from it. And the workers just pick up the couple crates that they've just brought in and walk right through.
Walk right through.
Y'all be careful now, you hear? You walk through, and you are not in Michigan anymore. It is significantly warmer, but still winter. There is still snow on the ground. A little bit flatter. On this side, you are met by Ketch and his drone, 22. You didn't notice that before? And he's like, "Welcome to Refuge Point." And that's where we'll stop it.
Where are we? Where's Refuge Point?
Where is Refuge Point?
Sorry, you stopped it before I was even going to be like, where are we?
Where are we? I was gonna.
You're like, done. Like, wait a minute.
You are in.
And who's Ketch again?
He's the other. He's the guy that met you on the way back. You left meeting Verity, and then when you came back from the mission, it was Ketch.
Okay.
And then he sent us out again to
And
scout, and
one
we
is
came back and
sent,
saw
okay.
Verity. So they're basically back
and forth through this.
Gotcha.
You are in.
Yes.
I don't think you told us the droid's name was 22 last time, or I would have want a lot earlier.
It had twos. It had a two on each side.
Asshole! You didn't say that.
Yeah. It had two printed on each side, so it's Catch and his drone 22.
Like how puns make me angry. You fucking asshole! Your stupid puns. I love puns.
Welcome to Missouri.
Missouri. All right.
I was just waiting.
Isn't Vernon Missouri? Is he from Missouri?
No,
they're
it's
from
Kansas.
That's right.
Which is right next to Missouri.
Yeah.
I was almost just waiting for us. Oh, we just went farther east. Like,
Right. Oh, because it's CS New York. I'm like, damn it.
it's not where we're going.
All right.
So,
And I was like, it's flat. So I was like, well, it's going to be flat and warmer.
You're
It
in
has
That's
to be
Oklahoma
west.
because we were on the border with Oklahoma already, anyways. Where I thought we were, we went a little farther north.
You're on the southern end of Missouri, kind of in the middle of the state. So you're right near the border of CS Dorado. But you're in CS Missouri, which is the weakest coalition state. It's pretty much the most like what you were used to wandering around. What was the name of the
place, actually? The actual place we ended up in?
You are at Refuge Point.
Refuge Point.
Ketch will tell you that a lot, like the black market smuggled a lot of people out after the siege of Tolkien.
Gotcha.
And this was one of the points, like just to get them as far south away from Chi-Town as possible. and get them away from the war machine that was rolling over them up there. So this is where they went, and from here there's several places you can go, but that will be a discussion for.
And we're free, right? Like when we don't owe anybody anything. We just walked through the portal and we made it like a great disc.
Right.
Cool.
And like you can ask him for work, you can ask him for suggestions, you can buy vehicles from him, do whatever you need to do to start.
He totally has enough money to buy vehicles.
to start what you're.
You have more money than me for half.
So thanks for tuning in, and Wiley, Mitch, Deyton. We'll see you next week.
Yeah,
we're good for next week. All right.